Alrighty, so we are live, and today we are talking about the fat loss cycle with energy balance. So, my question for you is: have you ever tried to lose weight by dieting and trying all of these various things, whether from working with a trainer, doing group personal training, doing dieting, whatever it is, and you just feel like, man, I lose weight and I only regain it later. This sucks. I'm over that. What I want to do is, if you are that person, I want to share with you all of the things that actually matter pertaining to metabolism and what's known as energy balance for deficit. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive right into everything. And hopefully, this should be very, very helpful for you too. So, this is directly out of my Joyfully Fit University course that we have for our private clients in our Joyfully Fit 365 program. So, without further ado, all right, so the very first thing is, in order to understand fat loss, we've got to understand energy balance. So, energy balance is the relationship between energy, also known as calories, that you take in and the energy that you expend. In other words, the calories that you burn versus the calories that you eat is going to be the most important thing. Now, negative energy balances, also known as a deficit, are needed for fat loss, and that happens when you consume fewer calories than your body burns, okay? Now, one thing that I want to point out is that if you are using some variation of like a, let's say, calorie burning tracker, whether it's an Apple Watch, whatever those things are that you're using, it does not matter. You want to keep in mind that just because it's saying you're burning a certain amount of calories does not mean that that is actually how many calories you're burning. So just want to throw that out there because I get that so often where people are asking like, well, this says that I burn like 1,000 calories a day and I'm only eating 1,200. I don't understand why I'm not losing. That's not going to be accurate. So, all right. So the concept of energy balance and deficits for fat loss is very simple. It's about the calories you burn versus the calories you consume. Very, very simple. Anybody who tries to say that it's more than that or that this part isn't true, they're not understanding or they're lying to you, okay? Now, achieving the right energy balance is essential for losing body fat effectively, all right? So, with that being said, the metabolism is a complex process made up of several components, each that plays a vital role in how your body uses energy. Again, energy being calories, okay? Now, these components are going to include four different things. Number one, not in any particular order, is TEF, also known as the thermic effect of food or thermic effect of feeding, okay? Now, TEF refers to the energy that's expended by our bodies, again, the calories being burned, in order to digest, to absorb the nutrients, and to process those nutrients in our food, okay? So I won't get into all the details there, but this is a pretty big part of your nutrition, okay? Typically, TEF, again, thermic effect of feeding or thermic effect of food, it's going to account for right about 10% of your total energy expenditure, with protein having the highest thermic effect compared to fats and carbohydrates, okay? So NEAT is the next one, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, there's also known as NEPA, N-E-P-A, which is non-exercise physical activity. We're going to just talk about them together as if they are the same thing today. Now, NEAT is going to encompass the calories that you burn through daily activities that are not to be considered deliberate exercise. So it's walking, typing, gardening, fidgeting, blinking, etc., etc. Okay? Now, this component can vary significantly from person to person based on lifestyle and occupation and based on your dieting and your exercise habits, meaning that if you've been on a diet for a long time or if you've got a long dieting history, you may have a slower aspect of this here, meaning that your body is automatically going to slow you down so you're not fidgeting, you're not moving as much, and this is all to conserve and preserve energy, okay? All right, so the next one here is the one that a lot of people focus on, which is exercise activity. Now, very first thing is that this one is very simple. This is going to be the calories that you burn through any sort of structured, conscious physical activities, workouts, running, swimming, cycling, etc. But where a lot of people actually get confused is that the amount of calories that are burning through exercise is going to depend on the type, the duration, and intensity. But more than anything is based on exercise activity compared to NEAT, you're actually going to be burning significantly less calories through exercise activity compared to what is possible through NEAT. What does that mean? You can work out 3, 4, 5 times a week and still not be active enough to actually justify the amount of calories that you're consuming. And this is something that I actually see pretty regularly. People will tell me like, Lance, I don't get it. I'm eating clean. I'm eating healthy. I stay away from this. I stay away from that. All the foods that I eat are healthy. I work out 3 or 4 times a week, and I just cannot keep the fat off. Well, this is a good indicator that, well, a couple of different things. Number one is that we may just be still too sedentary. The second one may be that you've got some sort of adaptive thermogenesis or metabolic adaptation going on, meaning that you need to do a few things in order to get your basal metabolic rate back up, okay? All right, so that brings me to the next part, which is the BMR, basal metabolic rate, also known as RMR, which is resting metabolic rate. This is just the amount of energy or calories that you're going to burn while at rest in a neutrally temperate environment, meaning that if it's really cold or really hot or really normal, that's all going to affect how you burn calories. So when all those things are normal here, this is your basal metabolic rate, okay? So it's going to reflect the calories needed to maintain your body's normal functions, again, like breathing, circulating blood, cell production. Basically, the way that I like to tell people is it's all the calories that you burn when you're just simply a couch potato, meaning when you're not working out, this is just to keep the lights and everything moving for your body, okay? That's it, meaning organs and what have you. Now, your BMR is going to be influenced by several factors, including age, your gender, your genetics, your muscle mass, and body size, but it can also be affected based on your metabolism. So, to effectively lose fat, it is absolutely imperative to consider all of these components of metabolism. Most people are only focused on the nutrition part of things, meaning they're only going to be focusing on the calories in, and they're only going to be focusing on exercise. That leaves a lot on the table. So we just want to make sure that you're actually focused on what actually causes all of this fat loss, okay? And that's the idea here. Okay, so a well-rounded approach is going to include, obviously, a balanced diet. Now, I do not say diet as in the stereotypical fad diets and things like that. I just simply mean whatever nutrition structure you're on is going to need to consider the thermic effect of food, an active lifestyle that increases your NEAT, regular exercise for your EA, and obviously maintaining muscle mass to support a healthy BMR. Now, when you lose calories or when you burn calories, losing fat too quickly, you are going to slow down your BMR simply by, especially if your calories are too low, because you are going to be sacrificing lean body mass in order for you to lose fat that quickly. So you want to keep in mind that if you're doing things too quickly, you are going to slow down your metabolism more than you want to, and it's also going to lead you to a plateau quicker. So just keep in mind that, yes, you want to do this quickly, I get it, but do you want to do it quickly or do you want to do it permanently? For me, I want everything to be permanent. You may be different. You might be okay losing very quickly and regaining it. I'm not. My clients are not either. So hopefully that helps you. Now, today's lesson is crucial for anybody looking to cut effectively while maintaining adherence and feeling satiated. Why? Because we do not do this low-calorie, restrictive, avoiding food, all of that stuff where you're doing cardio and you're busting your butt around the clock. That is going to lead to deprivation. It's going to lead to burnout or an injury. I have seen this too long, and where so many people will just basically just go 90-0 out of the gate. And then they wonder why within a month or two after getting some really good results, they're feeling like, man, I just can't keep up with this. Well, the reason is because you're lacking structure and you're lacking accountability for somebody to say, hey, look, it's awesome how hard you're pushing it, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. And what I mean by that is that if you're going to lose as quickly as possible, you need to expect that you are going to get burnt out, and you're probably overlooking the habit formation and the mindset transformation that needs to occur for permanent fitness and permanent fat loss, okay? So keep those things in mind. Now, we'll cover strategies to help you cut more efficiently and make sure you're staying on track with your goals in other lessons, okay? I'm literally bringing you my Joyfully Fit University lessons directly here to YouTube. So, which, by the way, if you feel like this is helping you, if you feel like this is resonating and making sense, go ahead and drop a like below, or let me know if you have any questions, and I'd love to answer those too. Okay, now there's 2 ways to lose fat, okay? Only 2 ways. Number one, you can decrease your calorie intake, meaning whether you cut carbs, you do an intermittent fasting, you cut your calories, all of those are going to be variations of the same thing, which is decreasing your calorie intake. The second way is to increase the calories that you're burning. Okay, very simple, but it's crucial. It's absolutely crucial to get this. So the way that you can increase burning calories are going to be multiple different ways, such as exercise, more walking, better sleep, all of these different things too. Okay, now adjustments in your diet and your exercise routine are critical to this process. So if you're not losing fat as expected, we got to have you look at these two areas closely, because that's where it's going to come back to. All right. Now, fat loss occurs when we're eating fewer calories than our total daily energy expenditure. And our total daily energy expenditure, also known as the TDEE, that's the number of calories that your body burns in a day. And that includes your activity. So your basal metabolic rate is your activity, or is your how many calories you burn at rest. When you're a total couch potato, you're doing zero, nothing. Your total daily energy expenditure is how many calories that you're burning when you're not at rest. It's counting everything, okay? So on this here, you've got to make sure that we, number one, that know the difference, and number two, that we're tracking these things. So the other part too, and a lot of people are very confused when it comes to, let me adjust this here, when it comes to macronutrients or macros, okay? So macros, also known as macronutrients, are carbs, fats, and proteins. And then, of course, the fourth hidden one, which is alcohol. So each of these macronutrients are worth a certain number of calories, okay? A gram of fat is 9 calories. Protein is 4 calories. Carbs are 4 calories each, okay? So they're not all equal, just simply put there. Now, reducing calories or burning more calories is going to lead to fat loss, which is why cutting carbs and, again, excessive cardio is a common practice for those who don't fully get the metabolism component, okay? So this is where it's typically going to lead to burnout or metabolic adaptation. Now, a lot of people will say there's no such thing as fat storage mode. Yes, the way that most people call it fat storage mode, I totally agree. But in metabolic adaptation, what this is that your body has slowed down the amount of calories that it burns at rest, and of course through adaptive thermogenesis, even when you're exercising. With that being said, it's just simpler for people to understand fat storage mode, because then they're like, oh crap, I'm not burning calories at this certain level of calories anymore. I'm not burning enough fat. So we're going to call it fat storage mode, even though it's a misnomer, only because everybody tends to know it that way. So don't at me whenever you see me on occasion, call it fat storage mode. All right. Okay. All right. So now working out in excess does not lead to faster results. It can, but not long term. All right. So instead, it's usually going to lead to a process called adaptive thermogenesis, if I can speak correctly. Now, this is going to cause the body to use less energy, aka burn fewer calories during workouts to conserve your energy. Now, again, basically, if you were to imagine yourself every single day going and running 3 miles, but you're eating fewer calories than what you were when you started running those 3 miles, your body is basically going, okay, well, they're asking me to continue to use the same amount of energy to accomplish the same tasks, but yet they're feeding me a lot less. Well, that's all right. I'm going to figure out how to burn less calories during these movements, so that way I'm not starving, and that way we have enough energy, calories, to perform said tasks efficiently, okay? This is adaptive thermogenesis. Now, obviously, your body is not thinking consciously, but hopefully this makes sense, that this is basically the strategy that the body is trying to solve when we're in excess workout mode, okay? Hopefully this makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if it is. Now, this is one of the main reasons so many people will notice weight gain while dieting and working out so hard. Adaptive thermogenesis, okay? Again, when you cut your calories way too soon, or cut them way too excessively, or you're excessively working out, this is why you're going to notice some of these negative things happening where you're not losing the body fat, even though you're working your butt off, okay? So the next thing is it's important to use a safe calorie reduction. A lot of diets just crash your calories down to the bottom. I call it the prison diet because it's about 12 to 1300 calories a day. It's very low. It's just enough to keep you sustaining and not very well, all right? So it's essential to maintain a safe calorie deficit or an intake, we'll say, during cutting. We typically are going to start at 15%. We may do 20% with people, But normally we're going to start with 15 and kind of go from there, okay? Now, for women, we generally avoid going below 1,200 calories, and for men, typically we avoid going below 1,600, just as a more of a guide for you, just so that you're not going too low. Now, instead of cutting out all carbs and fun foods, simply reducing your calories equally from both fats and carbs, leave those proteins the same, it's going to help you to reduce your calories for fat loss, but you're not going to be deprived like, oh man, I can never have, carbs, and I'm watching Susie and Tim over there and they're both eating all these carbs that I want in bread baskets. Oh, I just can't, this is why you don't want to do that. You're going to start, especially if you're like me and you enjoy carbs, okay? So it's still going to keep you in fat loss mode without feeling deprived and all of that stuff, okay? Now, it's also going to prevent disordered habits such as avoidance, because again, guys, avoiding food, it may lead to temporary weight loss. It is not going to do things the right way. I've been a fitness coach, or let's say I've been doing professional fat loss for 20 years now. And along those 20 years, one thing that I can absolutely swear to you that other fitness coaches, myself, other colleagues, everybody, we don't do the things that you might think that it takes to get in shape. People are sometimes shocked when they see me at restaurants. Wait a second, are you cheating on your diet? Is that what's going on? And I'm like, nope, this fits perfectly within my nutrition. Or again, you get the people going like, oh, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat any of those foods. And then they find themselves constantly thinking about those foods. It just doesn't make sense, okay? So we don't want you to become afraid of certain foods. We just want you to understand the values of each foods. So you don't have to avoid them. You simply know how to stack them and structure them, all right? That is everything that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, anything, go ahead and drop them below. Now, if you feel like, wow, this makes a lot of sense, I can see why I've struggled in the past, and maybe you're thinking to yourself like, this is great, but I need more structure. I need to know how to put all of this together, and I'm done playing small. I'm done doing the guesswork and all the, the trying the diets and the group training and all these things. I'm ready for a transformation. I'm ready to get this stuff dialed in a way where I can lose the weight and not regain it. But maybe you're saying like, Lance, I want to do this like what you're talking about, where I don't avoid foods anymore. Maybe you've seen my other videos where I talk about how I eat ice cream pretty regularly and pizza and cookies and things like that. Not that I'm telling you that you only want to eat those foods, but I can promise you when you're eating those foods incorporated into your nutrition structure that allows you to keep losing fat and staying nourished and healthy, you're not going to feel deprived. You're going to feel like you can do this forever. And you start feeling like, man, I don't even have anything to cheat on. So I'm just going to stay the course here. And you're going to notice consistent fat loss. So if you want to know a little bit more about what we do with our private clients, go ahead and click one of the links below where you can learn a little bit about what and how we do things for sustainable, permanent fat loss. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them below. If you felt like this was valuable, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on all of these lessons I'm going to be bringing to you, not to mention so many cool things with question and answer, just going over coaching and just helping you guys to reach your total transformation. So thanks again. We will see you guys on